Welcome, dear one. You are here, and that alone is something sacred. Perhaps today you came searching for something, an answer, a moment of peace, a direction. Or maybe you came without knowing why. That, too, is enough. Today, I invite you to sit with me just as you are. No need to fix yourself. No need to pretend. I want to share with you some of the lessons I have learned, not from books, but from living, stumbling, rising, and learning again. This will not be a lecture. It will be a conversation of the heart. So take a deep breath, and let us begin. When I first entered the monastery many years ago, I believed that wisdom was about knowing more. I thought if I read enough, memorized enough, disciplined myself enough, I would somehow arrive at a magical place where all pain disappeared. But life, my friend, had other lessons in store. One morning, very early, when the sky was still dark, and the only sound was the chirping of a single night bird, my teacher, an elderly monk with a face full of rivers and mountains, said to me, "You are looking for answers. Stop. Look for presence instead. Presence. Not the future. Not the past. Not the grand answers to why life hurts sometimes. Just presence. It is a small word, but it changes everything. Presence means noticing how the morning air smells after rain. Presence means feeling the sorrow in your chest without immediately pushing it away. Presence means looking into someone's eyes, really looking and seeing, not just their face, but their spirit. How often are we present? I asked myself this every day for many years, and each day I learned that most of us, most of the time, are somewhere else, chasing a dream, running from a memory, fearing a future that may never come. And while we are busy running, life quietly passes by. Moments of simple beauty, a child's laughter, a friend's quiet loyalty, a soft breeze through an open window, are missed because we are somewhere else. So let me offer you this, my first lesson today. Wherever you are, be there, fully. Even if it hurts, even if it's boring, even if you would rather be somewhere else. Because in that full presence, life begins to unfold its true beauty to you. When I was a young monk, I used to sweep the monastery grounds each morning. At first, I hated it. It was tedious, and my arms ached. My mind would wander. Why am I doing this? Isn't there something more important I should be studying? But an older monk, seeing my grumbling spirit, came to me one day and said, "Sweep with your whole heart, and the path will become clear." I didn't understand at first, but the next morning I tried. I listened to the broom's gentle whisper against the earth. I felt the slight resistance of the stones beneath it. I noticed how the morning mist clung to the leaves, and for the first time, sweeping didn't feel like a task. It felt like a prayer. That simple shift, from rushing to arriving, changed everything. You see, my dear one, there is no later where life finally begins. Life is only ever now. The sacred is hidden in the simple. The extraordinary is hidden in the ordinary. Another story. One winter, many years ago, I was assigned to care for an elder monk who was nearing the end of his life. He could barely speak. Some days, he only nodded or smiled faintly. At first, I was frustrated. What could I do for him? I wanted to help, to fix things. But slowly, I realized my job was not to do, but to be. To sit beside him in silence, to bring him a cup of warm tea without expectation, to hold his frail hand and say with my heart, "You are not alone." In that quiet, he taught me the greatest lesson. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can offer is simply your undivided presence. Not advice, not solutions, not a way out. Just your full, loving presence. How rare it is in this noisy world to truly be with another being without distraction, and how healing it can be. So today, wherever you are, with your family, with your friends, even with a stranger, I invite you, put down your phone, put down your worries, put down your rush to fix or control, and simply be there. Be there fully. Love them with your presence. Love yourself with your presence. This is the beginning of true wisdom, the wisdom that does not shout, the wisdom that whispers, the wisdom that says, "You are already home." Now, before we continue, I invite you to breathe with me for just a few moments. A deep breath in and a slow breath out. Again. As we move into the next part of our conversation, where we will talk about the illusions that steal our joy, I ask you only this. Come with an open heart. Thank you for staying with me. It is not a small thing, in this world of endless distractions, to choose to stay. And so, we continue, deeper. Earlier, I spoke of presence, being fully alive to the moment you are given. Now I want to share with you another teaching. Beware the illusions that steal your joy. What do I mean by illusions? I mean the stories we tell ourselves, stories that are not true, but which we believe so fiercely that they control our lives. Stories like, I will be happy when I have more. I will be worthy when others approve of me. I will be at peace when everything around me is perfect. Have you ever found yourself chasing these invisible promises? Running harder and harder, always believing the next moment, the next achievement, the next person will finally bring you what your heart longs for? I did, for many years, even as a monk. You see, robes do not protect you from the human heart. I thought, if I meditate longer, if I discipline myself more strictly, if I serve better than anyone else, then I will be free from suffering. But suffering is not escaped by running. It is healed by seeing. One morning, I sat by the river near the monastery. The water was rushing fast from the mountain rains, and I noticed something curious. The leaves floating downstream did not fight the current. They surrendered to it. They danced upon it. But the sticks, the heavy sticks, they resisted. They got caught against rocks, battered and broken by the force of the water, and it came to me, not as a thought, but as a knowing. The more you resist the flow of life, the more you suffer. We create suffering when we believe that life must meet our expectations to be good. We create suffering when we cling to things that are meant to pass. We create suffering when we believe we must be someone other than who we already are. And so, my dear one, I ask you gently, what are you clinging to that is asking to be released? Maybe it is an old regret. Maybe it is the approval of someone who cannot give it. Maybe it is an image of perfection that was never real to begin with. Let me tell you another story. There was once a monk in our order, an elderly man named Tenzin. Tenzin had been a master calligrapher in his youth, creating scrolls so beautiful that kings requested them for their palaces. But in old age, his hands became arthritic. He could no longer hold a brush steadily. His lines grew wobbly. His perfect characters became childlike and crude. Many younger monks pitied him, whispering behind their hands. But Tenzin only laughed. One day I asked him, "Does it not hurt to lose something you were so gifted at?" He looked at me with eyes that shone like deep wells and said, "Child, the brush was never the point. Presence was the point. If the river changes course, do you cling to the old path? No, you follow where it leads." He continued to paint crooked, messy characters, and he loved them as much as he had loved his masterpieces. Because he understood, it was not about what he created, it was about how he lived. We are not meant to be perfect, we are meant to be whole. And wholeness includes all our seasons, strength and weakness, joy and sorrow, clarity and confusion. If you wait to love yourself until you are perfect, you will wait forever. If you wait to live fully until life feels safe and certain, you will never truly live. Life is wild. Life is imperfect. Life is beautifully unfinished. And so are you. Another breath, my friend. Breathe in the imperfection. Breathe out the tightness. You do not need to grip life so tightly. You do not need to force your way to happiness. Happiness comes when you stop running, stop forcing, stop needing life to be anything other than what it is right now. It comes when you sit, just as you are, under the wide, forgiving sky, and you whisper to your own heart, I am enough, even here. Now, we have spoken of presence. We have spoken of illusion and surrender. In the next part of our conversation, I would like to talk with you about something even deeper, the power of letting go and trusting the unseen. It is not easy. It asks something very courageous of you. It asks you to loosen your grip on certainty. It asks you to walk forward even when the path is hidden in mist. But it is the doorway to a freedom you cannot imagine, and I will walk with you through it if you are willing. Come, let us continue. Together, come closer, dear one. The path we walk now leads into a place few dare to travel, the realm of the unseen. It is the place where certainty dissolves, where plans falter, where control slips from our fingers like dry sand. And yet, it is also the place where true peace is born. I once believed that to live wisely was to have all the answers, a clear map, a steady guide, a perfect destination. But life is a river with many bends, many hidden turns. The map is drawn with invisible ink. The path often only appears one step at a time, and so wisdom is not about predicting every twist and turn. It is about learning to walk in trust, even when, especially when, you cannot see what lies ahead. Let me share a story from the monastery. Years ago, a terrible storm swept through our valley. Floodwaters rose, fields were drowned, houses collapsed. Many of us were afraid. We asked the abbot what we should do. Should we build walls? Should we flee to the mountains? The abbot simply said, light a lamp, open the doors, trust the river to carve the valley it needs. I didn't understand then. It seemed foolish not to fight harder. But now, after many years, I understand. There are times when the only true wisdom is to let go. Let go of your plans. Let go of your rigid expectations. Let go of your belief that you must know the outcome to move forward. Trust. Trust that even when everything seems uncertain, something wiser than your mind is carrying you. You do not have to figure it all out today. You only have to take the next step, and the next, and the next. Each small step, even in fear, is an act of great courage. Each breath you take in uncertainty is a victory. There were days, even as a monk, when my faith wavered. Days when sorrow was heavy on my shoulders. Days when the path ahead was nothing but fog. In those moments, I learned to pray a very simple prayer. I do not know the way, but I trust that the way knows me, and it was enough. Step by small step, the ground appeared beneath my feet. Look around you. The trees do not rush their blooming. The river does not resist the stones it meets. The clouds do not apologize for changing shape. Why then, dear heart, must you demand of yourself a perfect knowing, a perfect unfolding? It is enough to live this moment well. It is enough to offer your tenderness to today. It is enough to trust that what is meant for you will not miss you, even if you cannot see it yet. This trust, this surrender, is not weakness. It is the deepest strength you can possess. Because the one who trusts the flow of life becomes as unshakable as the mountain, as resilient as the river, as free as the wind. One final story before we move toward our closing reflections. A young monk once asked an elder, "Master, how do I walk the path when I am so afraid?" The old master smiled, placed his hand over the young monk's heart, and whispered, "Feel the fear, bless it, then step forward anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the choosing to move forward with love greater than fear. It is choosing to believe that even unseen, there are hands, divine hands, guiding, protecting, and blessing your journey." So, my dear friend, we have spoken of presence, of illusion and surrender, of trust and unseen paths. And now we move toward the closing of our time together, where I will offer you my final blessings and reflections, lessons woven from the simple, holy threads of a lived life. I invite you to come with me just a little further, for there is something important, something precious, I wish to leave in your hands before we part ways. And so, here we are. Together, we have walked through presence, illusion, surrender, and trust. We have sat with the river. We have stood in the mist. We have opened our hearts to the unseen. Before we part ways, I wish to offer you a few final seeds of wisdom. Seeds that, if you plant them in the soil of your heart, may one day grow into a mighty tree of peace. The first seed is this: you are not broken, you are unfolding. Just as the flower does not curse itself for being a bud, just as the tree does not shame itself when winter strips its leaves, you too are allowed to be exactly where you are. Growth is not a race. Healing is not a competition. You are allowed to bloom at your own pace. You are allowed to heal at your own time. The second seed: pain is not your enemy. It is a teacher, a rough, unpolished, uncompromising teacher, yes, but one that, if you listen closely, will reveal to you the parts of yourself that are ready to be loved. Not fixed, not improved, simply loved. You do not heal by erasing your scars. You heal by understanding that your scars are stories of survival, of bravery, of how deeply you have lived. The third seed: love, the real kind, begins with yourself. Not the love that demands perfection or waits until you meet some imaginary standard. No, the kind of love that says, even here, even now, you are worthy. When you begin to treat yourself with the kindness you so easily offer others, your whole world will change. Not because life becomes perfect, but because you will carry peace within you. And peace within cannot be stolen by the storms without. And finally, the fourth seed: remember that life is precious beyond measure. Each breath is a miracle. Each sunrise is a gift. Each touch, each laugh, each tear, each quiet moment, they are threads in the beautiful, fleeting tapestry of your life. Do not wait for some distant day to live fully. Do not postpone joy. Do not withhold your love for yourself or for others. If there is someone you love, tell them. If there is beauty before your eyes, savor it. If there is a dream whispering in your heart, honor it. This life is not a rehearsal. This life is the real thing. Let it be messy. Let it be uncertain. Let it be wildly, achingly, beautifully alive. Thank you for walking this part of the journey with me. Even across distances, even through a simple screen, our hearts have touched, and if you remember nothing else from our time together, remember this: you are loved beyond anything you can imagine. You are not alone. You are part of a great, mysterious, tender dance of life. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. And trust, always trust, that you are exactly where you need to be to become who you are meant to become. Until we meet again, dear one, may your steps be light. May your heart be open, and may you walk always in peace. Take a deep breath and join me on a journey back to what matters most. In this sacred conversation, I share the life lessons, stories, and truths that have carried me through times of doubt, fear, and transformation. If you find yourself longing for peace, for hope, for a way forward, this message is for you. If this conversation touched your heart, please consider subscribing to this channel for more wisdom, reflections, and soul-nourishing conversations. Leave a comment below sharing which part spoke to you most. I would love to hear your story. Share this video with someone you care about. You never know whose life you might quietly change. Remember, dear one, you are not alone. You are deeply loved. You are enough, exactly as you are. With peace and gratitude. A fellow traveler on the path,